A few weeks ago, I posted a video detailing the results from 5 million dice rolls using my particular strategy. My strategy is maximizing the come bets and their odds. If this sounds complicated or you don't understand craps, go watch that first video and you'll get up to speed really quickly. Anyway, I'm at lunch with my dad and my uncle and I'm explaining this strategy to them, and before I could even get to the results, both of them told me that I was playing craps wrong. Of course, everyone has their own strategy, but my dad and my uncle had particular conviction that people that they know or they themselves have played the don't pass line and they always end up ahead. I had two reactions to this. First, that can't be true, otherwise you should spend all of your time at the casino if you never lose playing the strategy. And second, let's test it in the simulator and see if it works. The good news about this is I already did the really complicated scenario in figuring out all the pass line betting. So to pivot that model to work for the don't pass line was really simple, and we can get to the bottom of this pretty quickly. Here's a quick overview of how don't pass works and what the strategy entails. You start by putting your money on the don't pass line. If a 2 or 3 is rolled, you win. If a 12 is rolled, you push and nothing happens. If a 7 or 11 is rolled on the come out before a point is established, you lose. Again, if this sounds complicated, go watch the first video because we explain this in more depth. Now, once the point is established, what you're trying to do on don't pass is you want a 7 to come up before the point. So if the point is on 4, if a 7 comes up before a 4 is rolled, you win your don't pass bet. Something that was new to me in all of this is you can lay odds behind your don't pass bet, similar to how you can lay odds behind the pass line or the come line. With the don't pass bet, the max odds are 6x what your bet is. Let me explain the differences really quickly using the 4. If you're on the pass line with the 4, you have $10 on the pass line, you could put 3x that behind your bet. So you put $30 behind. If a 4 comes before a 7, you win $10 on the pass line, but then you get 2-to-1 odds behind it. So you get $60 if the 4 comes up before the 7. And that's because the odds are that the 7 is going to come up before the 4. When you're playing the don't pass line, you put $10 on the don't pass line, then you put 60 behind it. And if the 4 is the point, let's say the 4 hits, you lose all 70, the 10 on the don't pass and then the 60 behind it. But if a 7 comes up before the 4, your odds are reversed. So you put up $60 in order to win $30. So you actually technically win $40 total, even though you had $70 up for this roll. It makes sense because the 7 is more likely to come up before the 4. This is a strategy that I used for the 5 million rolls. Now, I know you can also do don't come and don't come odds, which is similar to the don't pass line. But for this first one, I wanted to see don't pass plus odds versus that really aggressive come betting strategy that I was using in the first video. The results here are really interesting. I kept the parameters the same for both simulations. So we're doing 50 series, and a series is when a point is hit and then closed, either crapping out or hitting the point. And then I did 50,000 simulations of these. And the reason for this was if you go into Vegas and you're playing craps for a while, I figure 50 series is a good amount of time to approximate, a few hours to see how you're doing, whether you end up or down. So what I did was I did 50,000 runs of this and then organized this data so we can see what the distribution is of 50 series. Now I'm going to show you the data for the don't pass strategy, and then we're going to compare it to the pass line strategy from the last video. And for me, the first thing that jumped out is how close to 50% the outcomes were positive. In this case, out of 50,000 rolls, 24,471 ended up positive, where you were leaving after 50 series with a positive balance. The median amount lost doing this was minus $10, which is, again, really close to zero here, kind of expecting almost a break even. The mean, or the average return from all of this, is negative $8. If you end up in the top 25% of rolls and you're lucky, you're in the top quarter. In this particular scenario, you made $280 or more dollars. If you were in the bottom 25% or unlucky in these scenarios, you lost $300. What may be coming clear to you, which I noticed as well, is how close to zero this is and how it feels pretty normally distributed. The max made through all 50,000 scenarios of this using the don't pass and maxing the odds was $1,710. And the max loss from all of this was minus $1,700. This doesn't surprise me that much. I knew that the other strategy that we went over in my first video was much more aggressive, but I was a little bit surprised by just how normally distributed this was. So what's my takeaway from all this? Can you walk away from the strategy and never lose? I don't think so. I think all of us who are familiar with craps knew that this would be much closer to a normal distribution or to a zero, slightly down expected outcome, just because the other one, you're just maxing odds and you can get really hot or really cold. And that's another thing, is in this one, it doesn't feel like you can have that huge swing up or down. It just feels like you're playing with a sort of known curve that you're up against. Let's put up the outcome charts next to each other, and you'll see using the don't pass that the volatility is just way less, and the chart looks more like a normal distribution. When you're looking at the aggressive pass line, come line, maxing odds strategy, it is a bit of a long tail. When things get really hot, you could end up much, much more in the green than if you were betting the don't pass strategy. And similarly, you can end up down much more than if you were betting the don't pass. When you're in the top 25% of the pass line, come line betting strategy, you could win multiples more than you can betting the don't pass line. Similarly, you can lose more on the other side. So if you want this higher beta, this higher risk, something that is going to let you ride the wave further and harder, then I personally would go with the pass line strategy. If you're instead looking to do something more conservative, or maybe you're just like hanging out and see if you can get lucky to make a few bucks like before dinner or on virtual craps or whatever, then yeah, the don't pass seems totally reasonable. Do any of these crap strategies guarantee that you make money? No. And I still have some that I want to test in the comments, but the bottom line is all of these curves are going to have a strong negative part of it, likely over 50%. And there's nothing that we can do on the craps board that is going to turn these odds to where they're now 51 or 55% in our favor, because if that were possible, someone would have figured it out and they would be spending all of their money doing it and just slowly reaping the benefits. I think there are a lot of scenarios that we can explore. And the goal of all this is not for me to hack craps so that I can quit my job and just go sit at the craps table and make money. It's just so that I feel knowledgeable about what I'm stepping into if I go to a casino. And by the way, these numbers scale. So if you're playing the don't pass line and the minimum is 25, you could look at my numbers here from this video and you can just multiply it by 2.5. So your expected return or the median return, instead of being negative $10, will be negative $25. Your top 25% would probably be $700 instead of $300, etc. You know what I'm getting at with this. So I plan on looking at a few more strategies. I think that this was really fun. Craps in general is going to be a game where if you're on the right side of it and things are going well, you can make a lot of money. If you're not and things are going poorly, no matter what scenario you're using, you are going to lose money. I hope you found this interesting. I like breaking down complex things like this into simple videos. So if you're interested in business or other things like little things that I'm tinkering with, please hit that subscribe button. Hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.